Explain like I'm 5. Why do men have bigger feet in contrast to women? Why aren't their average foot sizes equal? Despite the differences between countries, the average foot size for women changes between US women's 5 to 10, EU 35 to 42, whereas the one for men changes between US men's 7 to 10, EU 40 to 44. Except a few ones like a man from Europe I saw on IG having EU 38 feet, which is pretty small for a male, and wearing women's shoes, especially the ones with pointy toes and stiletto heels. Saw a few men with feet bigger than US 10 too. Like Shaquille O'Neal with size 22 and Dwayne Johnson with size 14. Why is there such a difference? Shoe size is generally proportional to height, and men are taller than women on average. Also worth mentioning that US shoe sizes aren't the same for men and women. A men's 7 is roughly an 8.5 in women's. So the gap is even bigger that you're describing. I think what OP is actually asking but doesn't know it is, why do humans have sexual dimorphism? Because, as others have said, the feet are proportional to the rest of the body, i.e. height, weight, muscle mass, and so on, so forth. Part of it is bone structure difference in the feet. Male tendons, muscle, and skin also tend to maintain more moisture and mass than females. Why? Well, it's mostly the effects of testosterone, which males naturally have more of than females. Men evolved different proportions in several different areas. Larger chest, shoulders, thicker skin, narrower hips, larger jaws, and bigger hands and feet. Theoretically, women would and still choose men with these traits as they aided their ability to run down prey, fight off predators, and/or other men. The center of gravity in women is typically below the belly button, men's is much higher. A lower center of gravity results in more stable movement. Men have bigger feet relative to size to compensate for the instability created from having a higher center of gravity. Men need bigger feet than women for stability. You do know that men are in average taller, heavier, overall bigger than women, right? So the real question is, why would you expect women to have disproportionately bigger feet? Why? Men's hands are larger than women's, and are shaped slightly differently, being far wider. I always just assumed that feet and hands were closely related. Physiologically speaking, in most primates they are indistinguishable. So whatever mechanism causes men to have larger hands also manifests itself in larger feet. I never thought it was simply related to height. You just sort of know when you are looking at the hands of a man or woman, even if that is all that you can see. Because men are taller is the easy answer. But even between a man and a woman who are the same height, the man usually does have bigger feet and hands. It's simply because those are part of the sexual dimorphism that makes men primed for hunting and fighting, along with bigger muscles, thicker bones, etc. Are you asking about why do women have a larger shoe size range than men? If men's range is 7'10", why is women's range 5'10"? Everyone seemed to respond to the title, not the description. I'm a 6'1" guy with feet measuring 11 in length. Narrow with both high arch and high instep. Us men's 9'10", women's 11. Your 43-44 fit me the best, being I have narrow feet. Women's shoes generally are more comfortable to me. I don't see any actual explain like I'm 5 responses yet. So one is below for you. Boy is more big than girl. So boy foot more big than girl foot. Men and women have different biological blueprints with different averages and expertise, because sometimes in nature it is more beneficial to a species to have a wide range of physical attributes and skills rather than being identical clones. What a weird question. I'm 5 feet 5 with a size 9 men's shoe. I worked with a woman who was 5 feet 1, slender, and had feet bigger than mine. There are anomalies. Are you asking why men are larger than women overall? Or is there something specific about foot size that makes you think it should be equal even though men are larger? Because men are usually bigger than women. How do you not know this? Men are, on average, taller than women. So that means men's feet need to be, on average, longer than women's. The taller you are, the harder it is to stay balanced. Longer feet solves that problem. Screw that. What about that they can't get some OSHA to have all shoe companies to use the same ruler? A size 8 in Nike is different from a size 8 in Reebok. It's like frick. What is wrong with you people? From personal experience, I wear size 11 in women's, and most women's shoes stop at 10. So I know my size in men's as well, which is 9. I am just shy of 5 feet 10. It's part of the sexual dimorphism we have as a species. Men are generally larger than women, larger hands, larger legs, larger feet, larger noses, etc. And there were no evolutionary pressures to limit that fact. Sexual dimorphism. Now that's a big word for a 5-year-old. But it means that in some species we see more males being larger than the females. That's what averages show. We as all the heights of boys then divide that number by how many males we measured. Do the same with the females. And the number for males will be higher for most populations of humans. And our bodies tend to be proportional, for the most part, and so short people will have smaller feet than a tall person. Since men tend to be taller, their feet will be larger. In spite of what you might hear, men and women are not the same. And there are a variety of physical characteristics that are very different between the two beyond the immediately obvious. This is not only true of humans. Most species have pronounced sexual dimorphism, which is just a fancy way of saying the genders of the same species have different morphology. Long story short, testosterone. Men are taller in average. But testosterone also thickens bones and muscles. So it makes your feet thicker and longer. Women with high testosterone levels and trans men on HRT also go up one size due to that, to my knowledge. Is this a serious question? Because men are generally bigger? Why would their foot size not be bigger? Don't most men have a size 10 and up? Men are generally bigger and heavier. So having bigger feet is likely beneficial for muscle stress since the body weight is distributed over a bigger area.